Lieutenant Audie L. Murphy had fought in 7 major campaigns of World War II.
Audie Murphy lived a life that feels almost impossible to fit into one story. To the world, he was the definition of courage, a war hero turned Hollywood star, a symbol of strength that people admired without question. But behind that image was a man shaped by loss, driven by survival, and quietly fighting battles long after the war had ended. Born into poverty in Texas, one of 12 children, his childhood was marked by hunger, hardship, and the kind of responsibility no child should carry. When his mother died, something inside him broke in a way that never fully healed, and not long after, he pushed himself into a war he was barely old enough to fight. Rejected at first for being too small and too young, he refused to accept no, eventually finding his way into the U.S. Army, where the boy who once hunted to feed his family became one of the most decorated soldiers of World War II. On the battlefield, Murphy did things that sounded more like legend than reality. Facing overwhelming enemy forces, standing his ground while wounded, and risking his life again and again to protect the men around him. His actions earned him the Medal of Honor, but what mattered more to him was simple. He was fighting for his friends. That sense of loyalty defined him, yet it also came at a cost. When he returned home, the war didn't stay behind. The nightmares, the fear, the constant tension, they followed him into everyday life. At a time when terms like PTSD didn't exist, Murphy lived with what people then called battle fatigue, struggling with insomnia, depression, and a mind that refused to rest. He slept with a gun under his pillow, a quiet sign that even in safety, he never truly felt secure. Hollywood soon came calling, thanks in part to James Cagney, who saw something in the young soldier and helped him take his first steps into acting. Murphy's transition from war hero to movie star seemed like a perfect second act, but it was far from easy. He had to learn everything from scratch. How to speak on camera, how to carry himself, how to become someone audiences could believe in. Over time, he found his place, especially in westerns, where his quiet intensity gave his roles a depth that felt real. His most powerful moment came when he played himself in To Hell and Back, reliving the very experiences that had haunted him. The film was a massive success, but it also forced him to confront memories he could never fully escape. While his career grew, his personal life told a more complicated story. His first marriage to Wanda Hendrix quickly unraveled under the weight of his inner struggles. The trauma he carried showed itself in ways that made life at home unstable and, at times, frightening. Their relationship ended almost as quickly as it began, leaving behind questions about how much the war had changed him. Soon after, he married Pamela Archer, a woman who brought a sense of calm and stability he had long been missing. With her, he built a family and tried to create a normal life, raising 2 sons and stepping into the role of a husband and father. Pamela understood the man behind the medals, the one who still carried invisible wounds, and stood by him through years of success and struggle. Yet even in this more stable chapter, the shadows never fully disappeared. Murphy's temper, his restlessness, and the emotional weight he carried continued to shape his life. Financial troubles, risky investments, and personal conflicts began to surface, revealing cracks beneath the polished public image. And then, suddenly, it all came to an end. In 1971, at just 46 years old, he died in a plane crash, a shocking and tragic close to a life that had already seen so much. But his story didn't end there. After his death, Pamela was left not only with grief but with debt and responsibility. She rebuilt her life quietly, working for decades at a veterans hospital, helping others the way her husband once had. In many ways, her strength told a story just as powerful as his, a story of loyalty, resilience, and love that endured long after the spotlight faded. In the end, Audie Murphy's life is not just about heroism or fame. It's about the space between those things, the pain behind the pride, the man behind the medals. He was admired by millions, but the truth of who he was lived in the moments people didn't see. The struggles, the scars, and the constant search for something he lost long ago. And maybe that's why his story still lingers, because it reminds us that even the strongest heroes are, at their core, human.